the biggest thing for you to improve on, stepping up and being a starter?
I think everything. Playing the run, being stout as the run, because I'm not as big of a guy, so being stout as the run and just everything. Improving at a fast rate. I think I got a lot to prove. So. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the After Effect Podcast. I am your host, LeBron Stephen, but you can call me B. Ron, Brian, Big Brian, L. Beezy, L. Boogie, whatever your heart desires. Welcome to episode 25. We have a very special guest. Terrance Owens is on the show today. Cleveland native, Glenville alumni, University of Toledo alumni, illustrious career at the University of Toledo. 8,203 passing yards, 63 touchdowns. Had the opportunity with the Kansas City Chiefs. Has been playing professionally and over in Poland for a few years now. Also has a podcast. So excited to have him on. And just sent him the invite. So waiting for him to jump in. And we will go to work.
What's good with you?
T.O., what's good with you?
How you feeling, bro?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You know how it is.
Yes, sir.
Everybody's working in this COVID season. You know how it is, bro.
You know it. How that Poland life treating you?
I mean, as of now, Poland life pretty slow. If we talking to COVID, everybody, they going through the third wave or the second wave, whatever, as far as, shutting things back down, things. But overall, just being out here, I've been out here for, about 3 years now.
A couple years, yeah.
Yeah, so, I'm adjusting, to like, just the different structures, the culture of, just the culture, just seeing crazy buildings, the structures and the shapes, the architect of buildings just
architecture,
yeah.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But overall,
Poland is definitely on my bucket list because I heard the architecture there is crazy. So that's dope that you've been there for 3 years.
Yeah, it's dope for real, bro. I got my family out here, so
yeah,
it's a different environment, great environment, for a family, to raise your kids at and stuff.
That's dope, man. So yeah, I appreciate you jumping on. I started this After Effect podcast, man, because I feel like as athletes, we got 20 plus years of experience. We all have an after effect or an aftershock of our career, all the wins, all the losses, all the injuries, the pain, the sorrow, the failures, the successes. We all have an after effect. So this is just a platform for us to tell our stories, kind of relive some good moments and some not so good moments. And again, I appreciate you jumping on, man. So I do believe that we are more than athletes. So before I dive into your childhood, let's talk current events, bro. Who do you have taking home winning the Super Bowl this year?
Right now, if we talking like right now in present time, I'm gonna go back, with the Chiefs again, man. The Chiefs, they got too much firepower on both sides, offense and defense, and special teams. So like if we just talking, current right now, present time, I gotta go with the Chiefs. I mean, it's a lot of teams right now, they balling, like for example, the Browns, even though we just got whooped by the Steelers. So it's a lot of potential going on right now.
Exactly.
So it's the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I feel the same way. Like you say, we both Cleveland kids, so I'm always rooting for the Browns. I found my last Sunday was actually the first Sunday I actually woke up like excited to watch the Browns. Like, man, I'm like, man, they 4-1. Let me see what they do. And then, of course, they go lay an egg. But I'm hoping that they continue to have a good season. And I would second that sentiment with the Chiefs because I mean, I feel like I've always kind of rooted for them because obviously Frank Clark is there. I don't know him personally, but I just follow his career. He played in the Big Ten. We played the same position, so I follow his career this whole time. Always wishing for his success. And there's also a couple guys that I play with at Iowa that start linebacker for them as well. Anthony Hitchens and Ben Neiman, and then obviously Travis Kelce, he a Cleveland guy. So I always, I always just like I believe we played against each other in basketball, like my 10th grade year. So I've always just follow guys' careers, and the Chiefs, like you said, they just got too much firepower, man. So talk about like how have you grown spiritually, emotionally, physically in the last 8 months? I mean, obviously since we've been alive on this earth, 2020 has been the weirdest year to date, right? So many different things. And then, like you said, you got your family, and you're not even in the United States, you're out of Poland. So like, how have you grown during these last 8 months?
So, I mean, that's a good question, actually, just talking about, the last 8 months. I mean, I feel like, as far as growing, I feel like I've done a better job of adjusting to like adversity. We talk about in football always, playing in adversity. Now we bring it to like, the life aspect of things. Me being in Europe, out in Europe, and the cultural situations, not in my country, they speak in Polish out here. I'm teaching English out here, but, at the same time, though, it's just all about adjusting. I would say like this whole last 8 months, I've been reading more, as we get older, I feel like everybody been reading more. That's
right. You know that
the wisest thing that someone could do. Like, you're getting out at the end of the day. But, I would just say adjustments, just being able to what the current situation is going on for real.
Exactly. I would double down on that. Like you said, just adjusting because so many things shut down. The world shut down. We literally could go nowhere. But the grocery store. And for me, I was out in LA pursuing entertainment, and literally every way that I made money was through entertainment. And
you had to get out. You had to get out there
to see everything shut down, bro. Like you said, the adjustment was just crazy. Like to really have to like figure out the next step and figure out whether you had to pivot or whatever moves you had to make. So adjustments are huge, man. Tell me this. What do you think about Deion Sanders going to HBCU? Obviously, you graduated from a Mac University. I graduated from Big Ten University.
Yeah.
But those are predominantly white schools. So what's your take on Deion Sanders taking that leap and basically putting on for the HBCUs?
I mean, just like you said, I think it's a big thing. He basically just put on, like you said.
Yeah.
And in our culture, the Black community, that's big time because we're talking about time. He already had a high school team. Like he didn't. It wasn't like he had to do it. It was like he felt that. I seen like some of the press conferences. He said it was like more like of a calling for him. So like if you're a fan of Deion, you believe in what he's saying, and I think it's really genuine, like what he's doing, and it's gonna shock the world because you're gonna get those big time recruits.
Off rip
for real though, like seriously.
And I had a couple former DBs on my last couple episodes. Donnie Fletcher, obviously, him, and Jordan Maven.
Yeah, D Fletch.
D Fletch and Jordan Maven, they played in the league for a couple years. And I asked him that question, like, imagine Deion Sanders coming in your living room and saying, I want you in my defensive backfield. And they're like,
it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Like Jackson State, like Appalachian State, it don't matter where he coaching, you going. Right. You know what I mean? And like, I think it's big also because people forget Deion Sanders worked for ESPN and the NFL Network for like 12 to 15 years. So
I remember him every year doing those combine interviews. And
exactly. So now that he's at Jackson State, he can contact those, the producers or the people who holds like the contracts for ESPN and kind of get more Jackson State games on those bigger platforms, on the ABCs and the ESPNs or ESPN2s or any of those networks. He knows those people. He has those networks. So I think it's about to be a big title. It's about to be a big tide change for HBCUs, and I'm excited about it.
Most definitely,
man. So let's dive into your childhood, bro. Cleveland kid. Talk about like some influence you had growing up in the 90s. Obviously, it's a different generation. We in 2020 now. We didn't grow up with iPhones and cameras and internet. We literally was outside every day, playing all day. Really had to mingle and interact with each other. So who did you look at as an influence or a mentor in the 90s? Just try to relive your childhood a little bit.
I mean, I was born in 91. So we talking, let's just say, elementary days, things like that of that nature. I grew up in the Glenville community, right off 80 Road, that exit right off right there, near St. Clair. So for me, it was always, like you said, we were outside, we interacted. We would go to our friend's house. I grew up, by a recreation center, the Glenville Rec, right next to Glenville. So I had the opportunity to be at the recreation center every day and being in a guy named James Miller, JM. He was like the athletic director. Like, he ran like the gym area, and the guy named Chuck Parker, the manager of the rec. So these guys growing up in the 90s were like my mentors, or, that was the place where, you got out of trouble. You know what I mean? Stayed out because, you know, growing up in the inner city, you know, everybody knows what goes on. You know, you got peer pressure.
You know it. It's easy. It's easy to get in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. The whole nine. It's too easy. So you know, the rec center, you know, and mentors like that, and transitioning over to high school, you know, having these coaches. Even when I was playing for the Glenville Titans or the Glenville A's, you know, we had football coaches that was, you know, huge mentors. You know, guided us in that. So I had the luxury of having these coaches because, you know, a lot of inner city, you know, teams don't have the luxury that, you know, that really care. You know what I mean?
Right. It's what like kind of like star or some like who did you look at like as motivation? Kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be me next. Like for me, I remember I went to Gracemont Elementary. It's in Cleveland. It's in the inner city, and Desmond Howard went there, and so I just remember him. I remember him coming back when I was like 8, 9 years old, and he had just won a Super Bowl with the Packers. And obviously, he won the Heisman for Michigan.
Right.
And to know that he came from literally the same neighborhood that I came from, and he walked the same streets that I walked, and to you know, to see him come back and say, "Hey, you could do it too." That was kind of the day I knew. I told myself I was going to be determined to give my all in football, give my all in academics, and play in the Big Ten, at least play in the Big Ten, if not make it to the NFL as well. Did you have any like that? Because as I got older, you know, I watched LeBron James and I watched Pierre Woods and just kind of marveled over those guys and really just gained that confidence for me. Like I'm up next.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, most definitely. I definitely had those guys to look up to. For an example, when I was playing for the Glenville A's, I started out on midgets. You know, you go midget, peewee, bantamweight. At the time, before I even started playing, you know, Troy Smith was on bantamweight.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know, he played for the A's. He was on bantamweight. So and, you know, he was the guy. You know, and then like after Troy, you had Arvell. You know, Vale was the midgets quarterback. So my first year ever playing, it was Vale. You know, Vale like last year on midget. So you know what I mean. I got to see like. You know,
great legends,
nice. You know what I mean? But everybody was nice in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? So Troy Smith, you know, he ended up going to St. Ed, was like for years, freshman year. So I had the opportunity, you know, our coach on midgets took us to the game, you know, got to see that the high school environment, football environment. Sold out game at Lakewood, you know, Troy balling. You know, so I up to him like he was that guy. And as you know, this timeline, O State Heisman winner, you know so it's always been like that, a long time.
That's dope, man. So what middle school did you go to? Did you always know that you were going to go to Glenville? Like fresh out in ninth grade?
I went to FDR. Franklin D. It's like literally, you know, 3-4 minutes away from Glenville. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know FDR. I went to Whitney Young. So Whitney Young. Yeah. We played FDR, Patrick Henry, Harry Davis, Audubon, Nathan Hale. We played all those schools.
So for me, you know, it was a no-brainer that I knew I was going to the Ville just because I grew up in that area. Like I told you, I'm going to the rec every day.
Of course.
Every day.
Of course.
You know, our football practices next to the Ville. Like we seen these guys practice. It was like that was the normal for me. So it was never because you know a lot of guys, you know, I've been talking to a lot of guys as well. They've been they say like in middle school you get recruited by like, you know, Benedictine, St. Edwards and things like that. Like I never even got recruited like to even play, but at the same time my mindset was already, you know, I'm going to the Ville, like this is like the natural thing, you know, not even thinking about it, you know.
That's dope, man. So I know, like, kind of expound on, like, did you feel any pressure? Because you got to think about it. You got to think about the Glenville quarterbacks: Troy Smith, Ted Ginn, Arvell Nelson, Jamel Hines. All these dudes go to Big Ten universities, Glenville legends. And so, did you feel any pressure? And of course, you were a different quarterback. You know, all those guys were right-handed quarterbacks. You were lefty. So, did you feel any pressure, or it was more so kind of like tapping into your dog inner city Cleveland mentality? Like, I'm up next. Like it's when it's my time, I'll be ready.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you could put a little bit of both. I would feel like, you know, it's my time. I felt like it was always structured like that. You know, you had Troy, you had Bill, like you seen like when it's your time, you know, this is your time to go. So like I had that. It was, you know, it's all a mindset. So for me, I basically like this is my time. I know, and again, me being left-handed, I was known to be a left-hander. You know, they call me Snake at playing Muni League. You know, the old school QB for the Raiders. He was a lefty, so I was known for a lefty, so people know who I am. So it ain't like so much of a big difference, you know, right hand, left hander. But again, my time came at the Ville. You know, I already programmed it in my head. I knew, you know, junior, senior year, that those my starting years. I'm gonna
right.
I played my role. You know how, you know, that transition.
Of
it
course.
just follows through. So, you know, but again, if you're talking about pressure, because you got these legends, you mean I wouldn't necessarily say it was pressure on a sense of how am I going to replace these guys? Because you know the road is I know I'm going to replace you. I want to. This is my time. But
it's more so just trying to carve out your own legacy and put your name on it, put your step on it.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, you know, freshman year, you know, I dressed varsity. I wore number 16. You know,
I remember that.
Yeah, so but look for me, like, you know, that was my first time with a double digit number.
Oh, you always had single digit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, usually I wore the 2 ball. So, you know, I'm hoping for the 2 ball, but you know,
yeah, of course.
It's tough to get that 2 ball.
Oh, yeah. At the Ville, yeah.
So then, you know, 9th grade, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna just make the number. I'm gonna make 16, you know, again, carve my own path. So this is supposed to wear 16, you know, all 4 years, you know, at the Ville on the strength, you know, I'm just gonna make that number. I'm a lefty, you know, I'm just a whole different path though. So it was interesting.
Definitely, man. What would you say is your best or fondest Glenville memory, right? Because I've listened to all your podcasts and especially the Villa. This is now I'm excited to see what other guys you have on. But obviously everyone is biased with their class. I know, like my roommate in college, Willie Lowe, he always talk about the 08 class, and I know that your class 09 was super strapped, and then my class 2007 we had like 10 guys go D1, and then our Valley class and Smalley class 2006 they had a bunch of guys go D1, and then Pig always talk about 2005, and then Ted always talk about 2004. So it's so many different classes, like and pools of talent. What moment kind of stood? What was your fondest moment, or you know what stood out?
And again, though, it's funny because I'm asking these same questions, and then you know when you ask the question, you be like, damn, I gotta really think about this.
Yeah, I was thinking about mine, trying to think. It took me about 20 minutes to really go back on that time and really think about, you know, just the feelings and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, it's so many, but right now on the top of my head, I would say like I wouldn't say most defined, but like most memorable moment right now, just to think about it. I would say my first start, my junior year. You know what I mean? My junior year. This is you know, speaking of Willie Lowe, you know, that was you know that year. I would say before I even get started, I will say 08. You know, we had the hardest schedule, like the out of conference schedules. All classes, I would say, because we played Lone. You know,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Warren
that was
Central,
when y'all started having those national games. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? We was playing guys. So, but that being said, though, you know, my junior year, you know, that first game, Indiana, we traveled to Indiana, Warren Central. You know, first play we get on offense, threw a 92-yard touchdown to Peoples. You know, that was like, you know, that game was like packed. You know, all our fans traveled to Indiana.
Of course.
Had stands and everything, so it was crazy. So you know, soon on the field, first play touchdown, and that was like my debut on varsity. You know what I mean? But besides in the games as a sophomore, you know how that go. But that was real memorable for me. I was like, okay,
here. And I'm sure I'm sure that put that battery in your back. Like, okay, I'm here. Like, let's get it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny, man. When I thought about it. I thought about 2007, my senior year, when we beat St. Ignatius in the first round of the playoffs. Like it was just such a hard game, and I forgot that I ended up getting an interception like to seal the game. Like they were, I forgot all about it, man. And I remember it's so funny, bro, because even in that moment, like it was a great play, and we won the game. We beat St. Ignatius, who's like obviously we know St. Ignatius, St. Ed's, like these are big time Division I schools and Catholic schools and stuff like that, and we beat them. But I just remember in the locker room, Coach Fox, like, man, he shifted my energy so fast because he was like, really you was being lazy, like you didn't rush the quarterback. And I remember that because you know we got coached so tough at the Ville, and we played with so much talent. It was so much talent, like they had to be hard on everybody. But I'll never forget that because he told me like, well, really it was a great play, but you really was being lazy.
Right. Yeah, man. It be like that sometimes. Like you said, man, we do play with so much talent. And so sometimes we so naturally talented that we don't know if we loafing or not. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's so easy, especially at high school. You know,
Exactly.
you ain't about all the stuff that you learned in college. You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
so the coaches, they definitely see it. We just didn't see it at that time.
Of course. Yeah. I just was laughing about that because that memory came back to my head. So yeah, man, talk about like your recruitment process. What went into that? What schools did you hear from? And ultimately, why did you choose Toledo?
I got you. So you know how it is at Glenville. You know, every year you always have. So even like you graduated 07. Remember we used to have those those early workouts. You know, coaches coming to schools
to the workouts.
So Gen used to take me in Trav, pretty often, like to a lot of colleges for him to go even speak to colleges. So like always, like being a young, a freshman, sophomore, like I was always there to see like how things, went. So when it got to my year, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I was more prepared and I understood the situation. So like I wasn't out of my reach thinking, O State, for an example, anywhere, Michigan, Florida. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I had enough talent, but at the same time, we all knew like my size situation, weight wise. You know what I mean? Yeah, I understood that. I was skinny. But at the same time, it basically narrowed down to having a meeting with Gen, basically saying, hey, we can get you Big East. When it was Big East conference at the time, not the American conference, but we looking more towards MAC schools, and we was going to go to all these camps, and basically all the MAC schools, I was getting offers from them.
Of course,
so I decided. So basically, I had all offers from the MAC besides Northern Illinois, Ball State, and Buffalo, and I had an offer to go to Cincinnati. That was like my only others, like big school, I would say. You know what I mean? Cincinnati, but they tried to gray shirt me. So during that time, I didn't understand what gray shirt was. I knew I was red shirt going into whatever school I went to. I knew I was going red shirt. I already had that programmed in my mind. So, going back to why I chose Toledo, we had a great relationship with Coach Campbell. He's a head coach at Iowa State now. Okay. But he was basically, at the time, he was on Bowling Green University's staff. Okay. So he was recruited to go there. So, every year we would go to these camps. So this guy every year. So then he ended up being the offensive coordinator at Toledo. Okay. So he started me even more heavier, and I already had a relationship. Toledo had the spread offense just like at the Glenville, no huddle, so like it was very familiar with me. And then that relationship, those relationships mean a lot. Exactly. So I think boiled down, it was a no-brainer for me at that point when he moved to Toledo, for real.
Definitely, man. It's funny, man. Like I tell like the younger generation now, or whenever I can, talk to a group of guys that, as young guys, like, we grew up, we marvel over the big universities, the Big Ten universities and all that. But when you look at the ultimate goal of getting a college degree and making it to the NFL, it's crazy. Right. Like the Big Ten universities, it doesn't matter. Like you want to go somewhere where they fit you. Right. And
exactly.
And I can testament to that because I went to Iowa and their style of defense didn't fit my style of play. Like I went to Iowa. I came to Iowa, a super fast, explosive guy. I did spin moves. I did all kinds of, different pass rush moves, stuff like that. I get to Iowa and they want me to slow down, play slower, play the run, play through guys instead of using my athletic ability and stuff like that. So I literally had to shift my whole game. And if I could do it all over again, I would probably go to a MAC school, or I would go to a different school where they would let me let me be me, let me do what I do. Exactly. Right. Exactly. And so,
and I think, I think from like these MAC schools, like these smaller schools, I think that is like a good point that you said though. Like they do give you the ability to use your ability. Like, so I feel like in the MAC schools, they know how to personnel you. They know where to put you because different size, different strengths. So
they put you in a good position to make plays.
Exactly. Yeah. Versus, again, like, I wanted to go to Michigan State at one point. I don't even know why I wanted to go. I think we was on a tour though, and I just liked their facility. We had all these different schools. I just like the state. It was just polished to me. So like but at the same time, O State was always on my radar.
Of course, we all want to go to O State.
And then all our guys going there. We going to games. I'm in their locker rooms.
Right.
Thing. So
right.
But you know how it is though. But you know how that go.
Definitely, man. I know. So just talk about your transition to Toledo. I mean, you ended up, obviously you redshirted. I'm sure you heard from a lot of colleges that, they wanted you to put on weight. But after your redshirt year, you kind of just ascended. Your career continued to ascend. You became a starter, 8,203 passing yards, 63 touchdowns to be exact. Bowl wins, leading your team into MAC championships, bowl games, stuff like that. So just talk about your transition and talk about that process.
I mean, for me though, and believe it or not, man, it was really tough, man. And I don't think a lot of people know besides like, the team, like, in the team locker, in that locker room, we all know like how I transitioned to be able to be a starter and things like that. So let's go into, I'm gonna keep it brief, but let's just go into like my redshirt freshman year. Redshirt year, again, that was my whole goal coming out of high school. I knew I was going to redshirt, try to put it on because let's be realistic. We talking about a guy like you, at end, hit me, at a first
right.
I can't play 4 games,
Right.
So that being said, I put some weight on, learned the system. So now it's my turn, sophomore year, redshirt freshman year, basically we had a quarterback, he was a starter. He ended up breaking his collarbone. So, me, the backup, next guy up, so that was basically my introduction, even to play. Quick, interesting story, like a side story. First, this guy got hurt. As soon as I got in the game, threw a little, dump pass to the tight end, like a 7-yard dump pass. He ended up scoring. So my first play in college was a touchdown. You know what I mean? So
wow. First play in high school touchdown, first play in college touchdown. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm used to this. I'm used to this.
You used to
You know what I mean?
I've
been there before, bro.
Yeah, I've been there
before.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, bro. That's dope.
Yeah, so look, so this guy, he was out for like 2 or 3 weeks. No, 3 weeks, like 3 to 4 weeks. Again, now I'm in that, I'm getting the reps with the ones, they're trying to prepare me to start. Okay, yeah, I'm doing good because again, I'm doing my job, just like, Gaines always tell us, take advantage of those opportunities given. What's my opportunity? I took advantage of it. So now let's say he gets healthy now. He starts to get healthy. So they start to put him back, get him back into that the one role, starting.
Right. Your reps diminish. He started getting more than 1 reps. Yeah.
Yeah, you know how it goes. It's political business.
You know the politics.
Yeah, so that being said, he eased his way back there, but I was doing so good they had no choice but to play me. So this is when we started the 2 quarterback system.
I remember seeing that. Watching those games.
Yeah, because now they basically said, or if our starting guy can't get it done, we know we got T.O. to at least spark a fire a little bit. You know what I mean? So that being said, they had no choice but to play me. But now it's to the point like either start me or just let him play, man, because it's I don't know if you really know about the quarterback system, man, but like being in a 2 quarterback system, it's very stressful because you can't get that.
Nobody can catch a rhythm.
It's at all though. So that being said, man, I ended up winning the starting spot. So for example, Tim Beckman, he was the head coach when Coach Campbell was.
Tim Beckman was my guy.
Yeah. So he ended up getting a head coaching job at Illinois.
Okay.
So
I remember that.
This was Tate's senior year, Merle's senior. So we went to the Military Bowl in DC. So he bounced. He went to Illinois, press conference. He there. So now Matt Campbell's an interim head coach, and so now he's the head coach for the following season. So he basically started me like that was like so. Basically, I started quarterback like on my own besides the 2 quarterback position for 2 years.
Okay.
So 2 years. And like completely me, and then the other 2 years was 2 quarterback system going back and forth. So it was interesting. I had to take advantage of my time because my time was limited. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. But like you said, you ended up being a multi-year starter, and like you said, going to bowl games is just really doing your thing. So talk about post-college when it's time for the NFL. Did you hear from any teams during the draft process? I know you ended up getting an opportunity with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
So kind of just walk me through that, and how was that opportunity with the Kansas City Chiefs? I always tell guys, for me, I always just wanted the opportunity, even if it was just for a weekend, to put on put on that NFL helmet and compete.
Right.
And unfortunately, I never got that, but you did. So when you were able to put on that Kansas City Chiefs helmet, was it kind of like an outer body experience, or was it just kind of like, all right, I got this opportunity, let me make the most of it?
I mean, I a little bit of both, man, because like as a kid, we dream for that moment. We wait on that moment to put that helmet on, NFL helmet. However, we got to put it on. Like again, like I was fortunate enough to put that helmet on. What's interesting that the draft, I was in the 2013 class. So after the draft, they didn't hear my name called, right? So I got a phone call from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I had the opportunity, first of all, to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers rookie mini camp.
Okay.
And then, so that was my first experience before the Chiefs.
Oh, wow. So,
okay. Putting that helmet on, first of all, it was amazing. Just even getting that phone call.
I already know, yeah.
I'm watching the end of the draft. I got the phone call, so that's what everybody dream of, that phone call.
Yeah, right.
They call me and they say, we want you to come to our rookie minicamp as a tryout. So this is a tryout. So again, I'm taking whatever I can get.
You got to.
So that whole time, you feeling good after the draft, you preparing yourself to go. Remind you, the rookies, they already there. They get the call. Once you get the call, you already out there. So I'm gotta wait like a good week or a week and a half till you can go
to the mini camp.
Now so I have a weekend, a rookie mini camp. So I'm there. Great experience. I learned a lot. Got to meet Mike Tomlin. See the Big B was there at the time getting treatment.
Okay.
I'm feeling good. I see my guy.
I know you feeling good, feeling great.
Yeah. So, but got the opportunity. Nothing came after that. So luckily that I had an agent at the time. Luckily that the Chiefs mini camp was the next week, so they didn't have theirs at the same week. So I had the opportunity to go there. Go to city and experience that. And just to compare programs, I was more comfortable at the Chiefs in their program just because of the plays and the environment. Every NFL has their own different environment, just like any other team. The field, we got our own culture, traditions, everybody has their own cultures. But I just felt it fit me, and I learned so much more. You know what I mean? Obviously, I took everything. I accumulated everything to the knowledge I have now. And that's why I'm out here, training and teaching, everything I can do to spread the culture.
Of course.
But man, it was a great experience, man. To have that speaker, that speaker in your helmet for the first time, I'm in a movie, it felt like I'm in experience. But at the same time, I felt like I belonged there. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm trying to make the squad, but that was my time.
Exactly.
In the NFL.
Yeah. It's still
it was a great experience for me, bro.
Yeah, man. It's still so cool that you even got that opportunity, because a lot of guys don't get it.
Right.
So talk about your transition in Poland. Where did that opportunity come from? What confirmed your decision to kind of take that leap of faith and go out the country, right? Because a lot of guys, I love traveling. I love traveling. Like I told you earlier, Poland is on my bucket list. But let's be honest, a lot of guys are not really into traveling, or they may be kind of fearful of like going out the country, going somewhere where they don't know the language and they don't know the infrastructure on how to move around, and literally just going out there super green and having to evolve as a person and develop as a person and really learn what's going on. Where did that kind of what confirmed your decision, and then where did that kind of fearless attitude come from to say, okay, I'm gonna go out here and do my thing? And then, like you said, you've been out there 3 years now.
Right. So, man, I the first year I came out here was 2016. So I made that decision, 2016. So again, my draft class was 2013. So I was my football journey, I'm with the Steelers. Next week I'm with the Kansas City Chiefs. And then no football related thing is, right now actual after the Chiefs. So this is when I go back to the city, of Cleveland. So I'm working at Guinea now. Because I need a job. I can't just. Of course,
we all got to get a job, got to get some money.
Yeah. At the same time, I'm training. Don't get me wrong. I'm still working out because I'm still in that mode. I'm still in that mindset.
Of course.
I'm fresh off of camp. You know what I mean? So I'm in mode. So I ended up working at Guinea Academy for I think I did like a half semester, and I ended up going to Minnesota to play in the Arena League to get some film. To come back, to get back in the league, try to get my way. Because at that time, I still had an agent, so he was still working for me, still trying to do whatever he could.
Exactly, getting those opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah. So that being said, man, I go out there for 4 days. I mean, for 4 games. I play out there for 4 games. So I end up getting a call from my agent to go down to Florida for the CFL training camp. So I'm, this is the time, like, all right, coach, thanks for the opportunity. I gotta go. You know what I mean? We talking CFL, Arena League, CFL.
Right. Of course.
Transition. So So I go out to Orlando, bro. I'm out here in this camp again. Had a great camp. I had a great. That being said, nothing came about it. So now, I'm in Florida. Collecting my thoughts.
trying to figure it out.
Right.
People
at least
really don't understand.
Florida, right?
Right. At least you were around palm trees, right? People really don't understand that, like, the mental anguish athletes go through, especially when you have a journey similar to yours, where, like, you had these NFL opportunities, and you went to play the arena, and now you had a CFL training camp. Nothing came about it,
right?
And you just sitting there trying to figure it out. Okay, what's next?
Right. Yeah. So that being said, man, like, I'm in Florida, collecting my thoughts, gave myself a vacation just on some. I needed
I need a vacation. Yeah.
So now I go back to the city, man, and again, now it's like 2014, going on 2015. So I get offers, from different countries out in Europe, and this happened. My guy Monty, he played in the team. He doing a rugby. He trying to start a rugby league. Cleveland. Shout out to my guy, but he was playing.
That's my dog. We played together. We played arena football together.
Yeah. So he played for this team, the first team where I came out there. So I'm following him on social media. So I'm kind of familiar with, like, football in Poland, but at the time I didn't even have no offer to go out there to play in Poland. But that being said, man, I come back to Cleveland. I go back to Toledo. I still got an apartment out there. So I ended up getting hired for at LA Fitness, just because the Toledo community, I'm a familiar face, got a buzz out there. So it's a hire. They put me in a manager position. So I'm thinking, all right, I'm done with football. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I had this offer, and then I was like, I ain't about to go out to Europe. I had no idea. I'm not even thinking about it. But the offer again the next year, you know what I mean? So I'm like, there's a reason. Ain't nobody, no team or nobody gonna give you the same offer 2 years in a row. You know what I mean? So about that, like, I still can play. It ain't like I can't play.
Right.
So I just took in faith, man. Just decided to just go out there, did my research. That was it. It was just I thought it was gonna be, I'm gonna be out here for 9 months. Come back, which I did. I did go out there 9 months, came back home, but then I ended up coming back out here. Like, between those 9 months, that's where I met my wife.
Right. Life is so crazy, man. You never, you never know what happened. You went out there thinking. So you went out there thinking you only gonna be there for 9 months, and you're gonna go back to Toledo, maybe go back to your day job. But like you said, you ended up, you've been there 3 years now. You ended up meeting your wife. Now you have a family. So that's that's a super crazy, but amazing journey.
Yeah. Right. Unplanned at all. So, man, you never know, man, when you take that leap of faith. Again, like I was talking to Trav on Most Value podcast about.
Yeah, I listened to that.
Coach Ginn, he told, I learned from him that, use football as a tool to navigate your life. And again, football has brought me here. Now I have a family because of football and because of, advice that I've taken from a coach. So I feel like my whole life, my vivid life, what I'm seeing through my eyes is created because of the sport of football. So I'm grateful for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm grateful for it.
Man, that's exactly, man. That's amazing. So try to remember the day that you made up in your conscious mind that you were done with football. I know you said you training now, you teaching now in Poland, and you're also a co-host of your own podcast, which is super dope. Talk about the day you put in your mind, like, okay, I've been doing this for 20 plus years, but I think I'm done and I'm about to transition to this. Was there any mixed emotions? Were you happy with your accolades and the accomplishments that you had already garnered, or did you want more? Because for me, that day was tough, right? Because
Yeah,
I
I
felt
feel
like,
like it's tough for everybody.
for me, because I felt like sports, football, basketball came relatively easy for me from 8 to 18. I was always a starter. I always had a
Right,
lot of success. Was always all league, was always won a lot of awards. But then I went to
right,
college, and that's when I started experiencing adversity. That's when I started experiencing
yeah,
racism. That's when I started experiencing nepotism. That's when I started experiencing
right,
not getting playing time, just all these different
right,
emotions,
right,
and learning how to navigate through that for 4.5 years was very, very hard for me, right? And then
yeah,
playing 2 years of arena football, and then finally deciding to hang it up. That was a tough day for me because
right.
I felt like I underachieved, not
I
remembering
got you.
not remembering all the stuff that I did, the accomplishments that I did make, but only
So
talk about that day. Was it a good day? Was it a bad day? Or was it like I'm happy, I'm good with what I've done, and I'm about to go to the next thing?
yeah, man. It's tough. Just like it's tough for everybody. Just like it was tough for you, man. I really felt that way, like that I was done, and in a sense of done, like trying to get to the league. Like
Yeah.
at that point, I feel like it's a difference because we try to like when you in mode coming out of college, you still in that mindset, that mode that you want to be in the league. But at that time, I feel like I've had these opportunities to get there, but nothing still has come from those opportunities. So it got to the point where it's like, all right, man, like what I'm gonna do? I still want to play football just out of the love. You still want to have those cleats helmet on.
Right.
So I feel like 2016 when I came to Poland, I put the decision in my head. It's like, all right, I'm done. I'm done. Like with football, like the playing
Playing,
aspect of it.
but I'm going to
Yeah,
transition to
it was more.
training and helping the next generation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was more. It was like, all right, I got the opportunity to come out here and ball out, go play for a championship. I'm gonna do that. Do my job because that's that's gonna be the fun part of it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, 2016 was where I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much done. But I still got a chance to play after the fact that I was, saying that in my mind.
Yeah.
Because again, still on the verge, I consider myself here out in Europe as a player's coach, because I play and I coach, but
Mhm.
that transition is leaning more towards coaching right now. So,
Right.
and it's just fun. So I'm happy with that decision. It was tough because again, we always think in the league and, you got friends going to the league, it's possible.
Right. Right. It's possible.
In the environment. So that's what it is. But then, I feel like I came to realization that, maybe the league is not my path in the football
Exactly.
path.
We all had
I'm
different
just
paths.
taking a whole nother path, and now I'm in my own lane, trying to do something still relevant with American football.
Exactly.
You got American football out here because, football is soccer out here.
Yeah, right. I already know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's dope, man. That you were still able to play after you made that conscious decision in your mind that you were done, and
Yeah.
you can live with your results, like you say. And I remember when I had Ted on, Theta on, he talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
All of us guys, like coming from the Ville, and we got so much talent, and we got these big dreams, and we get so entrenched in making it to the NFL, and it's like, oh, if you don't make it to the NFL, you feel like a failure, or
Yeah.
you feel like you didn't do enough, right? But
Exactly.
he just brought up like we're not supposed to be here anyway. Like, coming from the inner city of Cleveland, we're not supposed to go to Mac schools and set records and get a bunch of wins and garner a degree and go play football in Poland and have a family in Poland and be teaching and training and coaching. We're not supposed to be here anyway. And so when he said that, like, that really hit me hard. Like, it's like, because we're so competitive and we're used to competing all the time, so we're never thinking about what we did. We always thinking about the next accomplishment, the next goal.
Exactly.
And so it's sometimes it's kind of like sometimes you got to smell the roses just to remember what you did. Like,
really.
you did do your thing, and now just keep going. Don't get down there or something like that. So that's dope, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You got to I actually watched that episode, with you and Thedo.
Yeah.
But he puts into perspective because at the end of the day, Glenville, we were lightweight spoiled compared to other teams.
Definitely.
I know
we were.
we're in the inner city, but we had that college structure program to inner city. So we were fortunate enough to have those opportunities
in those moments. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think we were just kind of spoiled on that aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely, man. So Two more questions, bro. MVP. I love the intro. I love the intro.
That's my guy Mike Rick.
Yeah,
That's my guy Mike Rick.
Yeah, I know him making music out of LA. Him and G Harvey. Yeah, I know. So talk about like I know you co-hosting that Most Value podcast. Make sure you all go listen.
Yeah,
they're doing great things. Got the Villa edition going as well. Talk about what came into that idea, right? Because for me, I had this idea because for years I kept trying to like conjure up in my head, like you say, we know all these guys that make it to the NFL, high school teammates, college teammates. So I'm like, man, damn, I got all these millionaire friends that have done all these great things. I've done some dope things too. How can I make that make sense? Like, right. and it be free. Like I'm not asking anybody for nothing, right?
Exactly.
And so that's where my idea came up. Then I started thinking of names, like, okay, After Effect, like how do we feel after our career? Like the different fields, and I start thinking about me, how hard it was for me. My After Effect was hard. It was hard to get through that, right? And so that's what I came up with the idea. So just kind of talk about where the idea came up, what sparked the idea, the name, and your co-host, and then venturing off with the subsidiary with the Ville edition as well, which is super dope.
Yeah.
Just talk where the idea came from.
Yeah, so man, like if we talking first of all, like going like to the podcast, the thought of even like having a podcast or starting to create a podcast. It basically, that thought was like a couple years ago. The name didn't come out until like a few months ago, actually. Like when we, our first episode was in June 28th on my B-Day. So let's say a few months before that, that's when the name. But just going back to even the thought process of it, Brian, you might not know this about me. Like I do a lot of my hobby is like to create videos. I do like video editing and stuff like that for fun.
Yeah.
Like, what I mean? I just be. So like we all, we got guys back home, make music. Everybody, it's a lot of creativity. So
exactly.
I put myself on the creative realm as far as like the editing and stuff like that. So I was always into like doing like editing. So that being said, though, I was watching one day the 85 South Show. I don't know if you hip to the 85 South Show.
Come on, man! I love content. I'm hip.
Yeah. So look though, bro. So I'm just looking at them, and I'm just thinking like, man, they actually on stage right now, and this is a podcast, and they created a whole platform. You know what I mean? So
2 million subscribers.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, they can do what they can go wherever I'm thinking like they can go wherever they want, still create a podcast, still create whatever they want to do. So just because you hear a podcast, it's not necessarily you hear interview this and
exactly
interview that.
You could do it whatever you want to do with it.
Right. So that being said, they basically inspire me. Like, 85 South Show inspired me. So now I'm out here in Europe. So like I'm thinking like, all right, I've been out here, I done played out here. So I know like the vibes of the sport, like the mindset. Everybody not committed. This is like a hobby for people. So the sport is not popular. So what can I do, to help grow the sport, help build those traditions, things like that. So I'm like, that podcast I did, this is the only way so I can get in contact with the whole continent, not just Poland, the country, you know what I mean? So I'm like, podcast, that light bulb come in my head, podcast. So I feel like throughout the last, 2 years, I've been, we create those notes, got the notes in a notebook and a phone. Finally, I got my guy out here. He's another American, the co-host now, my guy TJ.
Yeah.
We talk a lot, one of my guys out here, we talk very often. So I presented to him, hey man, we need to do this podcast. I've been doing the research.
Yeah.
I do the research, I
like to
the research, it'd be dope if we do it together. I'm gonna do it regardless, but like it'd be dope to do it together though. So we ended up, coming together, finding the name, trying to keep it broad because we are out here, in Europe. So we could have been more specific. Like I like the name of yours, but out here it's like people like you got an MVP that's like very common in all sports. Like people can like gravitate to it.
Of course.
So, and doing the research, I see somebody most valuable podcast is taken.
Yeah.
So like damn, that's over with. So now I'm thinking, what can I do to still keep that name? Because I was liking the sound of it, So I'm like most viewed, most valuable podcast. So do my due diligence. Oh yeah, it's available. We good to go. You know what I mean? So that's how the name came about. And we just embracing the culture, man. Anything and everything do to help, help grow the sport out here. Guys are, hitting us up, asking like, questions. They sending us film, telling us what we think. And this is just a platform for it, for it. And guys like you, guys like our friends, NFL friends, and athletic directors, everybody that's in the football realm, we getting that show. And we spitting those gems, real and raw conversations. You know how it goes, bro.
Oh yeah. Same here.
Yeah.
Real pure raw conversations, man. And that's the cool thing about sports, our sport, football, but sports in general. People always elevate or create that evolution to so many different things. Like you say, whether you're coaching or you're an entrepreneur or you work in the corporate world or you're an artist or just all these different things. So it's that's dope, man. I'm glad y'all saw that idea through and your podcast is flourishing. Because for me, like you said, you came up with the idea years ago, but it took you a while to really get it off the ground.
To get it up,
yeah. Like, because I remember go ahead.
And in this space, this is like the first time that I even done something like this. We do a lot of interviews, playing football, but it's different having your own platform. Exactly. I'm not the most outspoken person.
Right.
So
me either.
it's still an uncomfortable space, but I'm enjoying it, and it's fun. So and then I like to create, trying to, now we doing the Ville editions as you're seeing right now. So like I'm basically just continuing to get reps and get better and better, like with the production, things like that. And it's fun though. Like now, again, especially specifically with the Ville edition, you get to hear all the stories from, guys that like Soup, he was one of the Ville legends.
Exactly.
You get to hear, like, talk about, things that we ain't even know about. And I'm from that community, Glenville community, certain things. So it's very interesting to hear like different guys' perspective in your own like community. But at the same time, our main goal is to, embrace the culture, man. And we can do it. Putting anybody on the show that's going to give these young guys who even interested in it, or people in general, we're going to start doing webinars, like just a lot of different things that's just to even teach your sport, like even break down the history, where it came from, how it came about, like the whole nine. Because for guys out here, is very interesting because they haven't heard of it, so they're not gonna watch something that they don't know the rules to.
Of course.
So we gotta do our job and really get guys to really lock in or at least learn the sport, because it's so popular here. It's like the fourth popular sport here.
Okay, yeah, and that's super dope. You all are in the perfect place. So keep going, keep striving, keep killing it, man. Last question. Like I said, I call this the After Effect podcast. We all have some kind of after effect after our athletic journey is over, through the wins and the losses and the injuries. Like I said earlier, what would you say is Terrance Owens' after effect? What are some lessons that you learned from 20 plus years of playing sports that you will ingratiate to your kids? Maybe give that game, like you said, on to the webinars, to the next generation out in Poland. What would you say your after effect is?
And that's a great question. I might have to use that question though in another.
Use it.
But I will say that I would say communication, man. Teaching kids generational. Like me growing up, I wasn't the best communicator, and like all the times that I've played football, been through, coach training, doing camps here, teaching there, trying to inspire, being mentors, listening to my mentors, things like that. All that has accumulated to me being 29 years old now, having a family, having 2 kids. It's about communication, man. I learned that after effect for me is being able to communicate. And now having this platform, the MVP platform, is helping me be able to reach out more, communicate more to people, because I was kind of, I wouldn't say I was isolated, but like, if I ain't know you or I don't know you,
I was the same way.
You know how it is.
Yeah. But I think naturally we just like that from Cleveland, especially you grow up in the inner city, all the things you see and all the things you kind of go through, like whether it's family or school or friends, stuff like that. You just you from Cleveland, you naturally like that.
Right. You can't trust too many people. You're skeptical.
Exactly.
Of people because so much go on back home.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
So now being out here, it's completely opposite.
A different world.
It's literally a different world. Like people, like, they curious. They want to know. Like they don't know. Like, I had a conversation with a Polish student of mine, I was talking about the racism back home in America.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't think that it was still actual because it's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They really have no understanding on it's the two Americas, white America, black America. They don't even understand that concept though. But
Mm-hmm.
but that said, man, I think communication, man, it's that after effect for me.
Man, that's that's so big, bro, because people don't understand that, man. Like, you could be the best guy, you could be the most pure guy, you can have 4 degrees, you can be smart, blah 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 blah.
Right.
But if you can't communicate, if you can't connect, that connectivity, if you can't connect with people, it's going to be hard for you to be successful. Like, so everything is communication.
Those degrees are worthless if you know you
I'm
can't
telling you, bro. That's so powerful. That's so powerful. I hope our viewers and our listeners can catch this game, man, because you got to be able to communicate. You have to know how to open up your mouth, and you got to be able to know how to communicate on different levels as well. Like, you can't be aggressive all the time or talk with like you know, like you trying to do something to somebody. You got to know how to be relaxed, and poised, and communication is so key, bro. And it's crazy. I don't even think I would have started this podcast because, you know, I got started to get into acting like 3 years ago. So I started taking like acting classes, voiceover classes, stuff like that, really learning how to speak and how to talk and how to communicate and how to connect with people. But I had to literally take classes for that. Cause like you said, we're from Cleveland. We got a certain kind of slang. We're for show. And this, like, we talk a certain way, big this, a bit. So learning how to kind of like unpack that, like put that behind me, like only for when I'm with my friends, and really like learn how to speak and how to connect with people. I had to take classes for that, right? So it's crazy that, like, I wouldn't say I was behind the 8 ball, but I kind of was. I had to take classes on how to do that. So because I got 2 degrees and I've always excelled academically, but I couldn't communicate. So people always thought I was, you know, I wouldn't say they maybe thought I was weird, but just they couldn't read me, right? Because I didn't know how to communicate.
Right. And and funny that you say that. Same here. Even like Coach Gann even tell you, I had Bo on the show recently as well. You know, he was my quarterback coach. He couldn't read me, you know, like at the same, like he thought I was always nonchalant because again, I didn't say too much. So he thought I didn't care about a lot of stuff, but really
save me.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I know exactly what you mean. But yeah, so now I'm being able to like you say, you've taken acting classes, things like that. Like I've been reading where I read this book. It's like 13 ways to speak, you know, so the audience can hear you. You know what I mean? To just be talking, but talk for someone to actually listen to you. You know what I mean? So I've been just like, you know, picking up tips on, you know, there's different methods and techniques on how to speak, when to slow down, when to breathe, you know, things like that. So that has helped me, but at the same time, I'm still, you know, it's still new for me. That's like going on live. I still ain't been on IG live yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But you know what I mean, though. So like, I'm just working through it, and
but like you said, just getting those reps in.
Yeah, getting those reps, because I remember in college I had a public communication class. Okay. And I got a D. Like it wasn't a good grade though, but I feel like I learned a lot though. Like I feel like I learned in that class though, the class where I was struggling in.
Right.
And the reason, but and again, it wasn't like my like the work assignments and presentations that made me fail the class. It was that, again, I wasn't open. I wasn't open to like wanting to like, you know, do the presentation versus just getting it done. So I didn't put like too much effort in it. I was prepared, but it was just, you know, I'm just reading off my notes, you know, just trying to get done, you know, fast. So I feel like now just when I look back on that and now having a podcast, communicating more. And again, you know, I have an 8-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old daughter. So now, you know, my 8-year-old daughter, she's doing school online. So I'm FaceTiming her. So now communication is very vital now.
Yeah, it's very vital. Yeah.
Every day, you know, FaceTime. So now I'm her father. So I have to teach her these lessons, life lessons over FaceTime, you know.
Right.
It's big. It's big time for me.
Man, major. Well, yeah, bro, I appreciate you carving out some time for me, bro. I've been trying to pride myself on, you know, giving guys flowers while they're here, man. 2020 been a weird year. We never know when it's our last day here. So I just want to tell you face up, man, that I'm proud of everything you've done, all the accomplishments, all the accolades, man. You killing it. You doing your thing. Keep going. Keep striving. Keep putting on for Cleveland. Like I said, man, it's on my bucket list to get out to Poland next year and to Japan, where I don't know. You know Sean Draper.
Draper, yeah.
I want to get out there to just visit and to maybe interview him live. And I want to get out there to Poland to take in the culture and to maybe, kind of thinking creatively, bro. We could probably even like combine and do like some kind of episode like together.
Definitely put something together for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. So yeah, again, I just wanted to give you those flowers, man, while we both still here, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it. You already know it's all love, bro.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Well, that's all I had, man. I appreciate you carving out the time. Continue to be safe. Blessings on you and your family, bro, and we'll be in touch.
All right, same here, bro. Love.
All right, love. Peace. So, yeah, again, guys, thank you for tuning in to episode 25 with Terrance Owens. I mean, co-host of MVP, teacher, coach, mentor, lives out in Poland with his family. Just an amazing soul, an amazing story, right? So thank you for listening and watching for episode 25. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube. Be sure to leave a rating or like on all podcast apps and platforms. And again, continue to be on the lookout for my Patreon account, for my merch, for the podcast. See you next time.